The morning light slipped through the curtains, brushing softly across the edge of the mirror. I stood there, half-turned, staring at the reflection of a woman who looked calm but wasn't. My hands trembled slightly as I tried to zip up my dress. The navy blue fabric shimmered under the sunlight, elegant, simple, yet somehow heavy on my shoulders. It was supposed to be a good day. Ethan and I were attending our first anniversary dinner, the one he had insisted on arranging. He said it would be a night to remember, and though his smile was sincere, something in his eyes had been distant lately. He had been working late, missing meals, forgetting small things like the way I took my coffee or the book we'd started reading together. He wasn't cold, just absent. I took a deep breath, trying to zip my dress, but the zipper stuck midway. "Perfect," I muttered, tugging at it. That's when I heard footsteps behind me. Before I could turn, I felt Ethan's presence. The warmth of him, familiar and grounding, filled the quiet space. "You know that," he began softly, his voice a low rumble that reached me before his touch did. "You never wait for me to help you with this." I froze, my heart caught between surprise and ache. He reached for the zipper with steady fingers. The suddenness of his move startled me, not because it was abrupt, but because of how gentle it felt. In the mirror, our eyes met. He wasn't smiling, but there was something raw there, something searching. "I thought you were busy downstairs," I whispered, afraid my voice might crack. "I was," he said quietly. But then I realized, I don't want to keep being busy for the wrong reasons. The zipper slid up smoothly. His hand lingered for a moment near my shoulder, not in desire, but in apology. I turned around, facing him. "What does that mean?" He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "It means I've been losing you slowly, and I didn't even see it happening. I've been trying so hard to fix things at work that I forgot to fix us." My throat tightened. "Ethan," I started, but he gently shook his head. "No. Let me say this first." He stepped closer, his tone softening. "You've been patient with me. Too patient. I thought love was just about big gestures. The dinners, the anniversaries, the promises. But lately, I realized love is in the quiet moments. The ones I've missed. I didn't realize I was holding my breath until it trembled out of me. "I never asked for big things," I said finally. "Just presence. Just you." He looked at me with something I hadn't seen in weeks, vulnerability. "I know," he said. "And tonight isn't about celebrating a perfect year. It's about starting over." We arrived at the restaurant an hour later, driving through the soft drizzle that painted the city gold. The silence between us wasn't uncomfortable, it was thoughtful, almost sacred. The restaurant was small, tucked between brick walls and ivy vines, the same place we'd come to on our first date. The staff recognized us instantly and guided us to a corner table overlooking the rain-streaked window. Candles flickered. The air smelled faintly of rosemary and lemon. Ethan reached for the menu, then stopped. "You still order the same thing, don't you?" he asked with a gentle smile. "I might surprise you tonight," I teased. He chuckled, a sound that eased the tension like sunlight breaking through clouds. For a moment, we just looked at each other, really looked. It was strange how time could distance people even when they shared the same roof, same bed, same dreams. And yet, one honest conversation could begin to close that distance. When our food arrived, Ethan raised his glass of sparkling water. "To the moments we forgot to notice," he said. "And to the ones we'll never miss again," I replied. Our glasses touched, and something in the sound felt like hope. After dinner, we walked under a shared umbrella. The rain had softened into a mist, wrapping the world in silver. The city lights blurred into watercolor shades, and the pavement glowed. Ethan held the umbrella with one hand, the other resting casually in his pocket. "Do you remember the first time we came here?" he asked. "How could I forget? You spilled soup on your shirt trying to impress me." He laughed. "You said it made me look real." "It did," I smiled. "You were trying too hard. But I like that about you." He stopped walking for a moment. "And now?" I turned toward him. The umbrella tilted slightly, letting a drop of rain fall onto my shoulder. "Now," I said softly, "I just want us to stop trying so hard to be perfect. I want real again." Ethan nodded, and though no words followed, the silence between us felt mended, stitched with understanding. Back home, I changed out of my dress, hanging it neatly in the closet. As I did, I noticed Ethan standing by the window, looking out at the rain. Something about his posture, the stillness, the reflection of light on his face, made me walk over. "Penny for your thoughts," I asked lightly. He smiled faintly. "Just thinking how lucky I am that you're still here." I leaned on the window frame beside him. "Where else would I be?" "You could have walked away," he said quietly. "You had every reason to." I studied his face, those familiar lines, that gentle tiredness in his eyes. "We both lost sight for a while," I said. "But love isn't about never getting lost. It's about finding our way back." He reached for my hand, not with urgency, but with quiet reverence. Our fingers intertwined, warm, steady. The storm outside faded into a gentle drizzle. Inside, something else softened too, the heaviness that had been sitting in my chest for months. The following week, Ethan surprised me with something unexpected. A canvas, paintbrushes, and a note that said, "Let's create something that's ours again." We hadn't painted together since our early days of marriage. Back then, our weekends were filled with colors and laughter, and the walls of our apartment had been covered with half-finished art. Now, as he stood there setting up the paints, I felt that same lightness return. He dipped the brush into blue paint, then glanced at me. "Still afraid of messy colors?" I smirked. "Not if you're the one mixing them." We began to paint. Not a masterpiece, just shapes, waves, memories. Every brush stroke carried a story. He drew a small lighthouse, and I painted the sea around it. "Why a lighthouse?" I asked. "Because it doesn't chase the ship," he said. "It just stays lit, waiting, guiding." That line hit deeper than I expected. Maybe that was what love had become for us. Not the pursuit, but the steady light that never stopped shining, even when storms tried to blur the way. When we finished, the canvas was imperfect. Colors smudged, outlines uneven, but it was ours. And in that imperfection, there was beauty. One evening, a few days later, I found Ethan sitting in the garden, scrolling through old photos on his tablet. I joined him, resting my head on his shoulder. He showed me a picture from our wedding, the moment I was about to zip my dress, laughing because it got stuck. "You remember this?" he asked. I smiled. "Of course. You were standing right there, pretending not to look nervous." He chuckled. "I wasn't pretending. My hands were shaking so much I nearly broke the zipper." I laughed softly, tracing the photo with my finger. "And yet, somehow, that was one of the happiest moments of my life." "Why?" "Because you looked at me like you already knew we'd make it through anything." He fell silent for a long moment, then whispered, "I still believe that." The next morning, Ethan woke up early and cooked breakfast.